Thank you for jumping on, lovelies. I love seeing every week it's the same rock stars that jump on. It's the same rock stars that I see with their names up in my reports. It goes to show, because the ones that do rock up are the ones that have successful businesses. So, normally we do massive action in this little time slot, which I love. We're seeing so much momentum from it. But from what I've seen, you guys are pretty much in massive action at the moment. So there's no point really designating half an hour tonight, because it seems like you guys are designating half an hour pretty regularly, which is exciting. So we're going to take a little break tonight, and I want to go over mindset. Now, this is really important if you're recruiting people, because as you recruit people, you're going to notice that there will be things that stop them from working. If this is you, like I know we've got a few new faces on too, there will be things that you meet along your journey that will stop you from working, from putting in action. And I'm going to try and show you how to combat them, and just most importantly, be aware. So I did a live a little earlier. It's one of my favorite things that I've ever seen, because it just makes sense in my head. Sometimes where you do personal development and you're just like, oh yeah, like I get that. This one was one of it for me. So hopefully it might be for some of you guys. This, I'll just cover it briefly because my live did today. So, we talk about being responsible. Let me. I might just jump back on here because we've got some background noise. Cool, sweet. Yeah, so we talk about being responsible, because in this business, you come in and you own your own business. So many people come in and they get this mixed up with their job. Okay, your job that you go to that you pretty much hate, that you get told what to do. This is totally different. You need to take responsibility for your success in here, because you own a franchise. We have a really cool support system that's always going to have your back, but you are the only person who can turn this into a success for yourself. Okay, so my favorite thing in this business is self-responsibility. Sorry, products, I don't need you till later. Cool. So sometimes you might hear in the business we talk about playing small and then playing above the line. So there's my line, okay? 100% responsible is above the line, obviously, because it's awesome. Underneath, we have blame, we have shame, and we have justify. Now, these are all mindsets. Obviously, they're not healthy mindsets. So I'm going to teach you how to recognize them, what they look like, and how to move out of them, and a few other handy hints that you might find will really serve you towards success. So in here, when you're having a shitty day, it's really easy to use one of these things to justify where you are at in the business. Okay, but it doesn't serve us. It doesn't help us grow. So what we want to do is get back up on top here and always play above the line as quickly as possible. All right, so just a little bit of an idea. When we blame others for the reason why we are not successful. Okay, so you might blame your upline. They didn't do a good enough job teaching me. You might blame the company because they didn't support you when you called. You might blame your partner because they don't understand what you're doing. You could blame everything. You could blame your weight. I've heard people say, oh, I can't do that because of my weight. Really? It's an excuse. Blame is putting the excuse to something other than self, which is never good, because you can never get to the root of the problem. Shame. This is the one that comes up most commonly in our business, because it's the one people will talk about. That is when you shame yourself. So it's negative self-talk. So I know we're probably all guilty of this, because I think it's something that's conditioned into us quite young, but we have negative self-talk inside our brain. That little voice that talks when you shut off might say, I knew you weren't good enough for this. I knew I don't know enough people. I can't do this. I'm not one of those people that can be successful. That kind of negative chatter happens all the time. And we are the worst for it in this industry when someone tells us no. How many times do we make up a story in our head about how bad we are because somebody else said no? Or even, if you're sitting there in a leadership position, And you doubt yourself because someone has said something bad about you. You know, we go into our own little, oh, am I good? You know, maybe I'm not good at leadership. Maybe I shouldn't be in this role. Maybe I should just stick to customers. You know, we really start to shame and put that back on ourselves. That, again, is unhealthy too. Woo. So I'm going to put self-talk. Sorry, neg self-talk, so we know. Cool. And then justify, if we're getting in a spot of justifying why we're not successful. So you'll hear that all the time. You might even have a story yourself. Okay, when I shared before, when I started this business, I always assumed that I couldn't be successful because I had 2 small kids and I didn't have that partner support to help me through. That was my story of why I was in a shit financial situation and why I wasn't taking control of myself. It was total bullshit. Absolute bullshit. It wasn't stopping me. It was my comfort blanket because it was my story. It was my justification of why I was playing small. Can you guys see that if you sit in these, in blame, shame, and justify, you're not going to grow. You're never going to play above the line. You're never going to get up to that spot where you take responsibility for the shit that's going on. You take responsibility for your business and you really start to run for it. So I shared before, within this, when we're 100% responsible, we educate ourselves, we reflect, and we grow. So if you aren't doing those 3 things every day, there's a very good chance you're playing below the line. So every day you should be going out of your way to educate yourself around something. The business is always a great one. Personal development. If you're not reflecting, if you're a leader, this is really important. You need to reflect on what worked, what didn't. Even if you're just starting, you know, what conversations worked? What posts worked? You know, what trainings did you really enjoy getting on? Work out what worked and reflect it and grow. Obviously, grow is, you know, what will come from the first 2, but you need to be actually putting your awareness on the fact, am I growing? Is my business growing? Am I becoming a better person? Am I doing what I should be doing? Cool. Now, if you're down here, which will happen, we'll all slip below. We'll start to make excuses. We'll start to justify why we aren't moving. It's really important to be aware of why you're there. Okay? Most of the time you slip into here because of a doubt. There's a doubt that's inside your head somewhere, whether it's a doubt that you're not good enough, whether it's a doubt that you shouldn't be doing it, whether it's a doubt that, you know, you don't have enough support. That doubt is really valid. Celine says this, and it's my absolute favorite one. Doubt will take you out of action, but action will take you out of doubt. Now that to me is one of my favorites. I'll say it again. Doubt will take you out of action, and action will take you out of doubt. So if you're sitting down here and you know you are, okay, own it. Own it and be proud that you can recognize that you are, but you need to be able to move out of it. You know, if you want to make this happen and if you have a big vision, because when we look up here to 100% responsible, we have a vision. We have a vision that we're responsible for. So we need to move out of these and move into it. And if you can't physically do the action to move you out of there, you have to ask yourself why. And that's where another one of Linda's amazing quality questions come in. You know, she says, what else do I need to know to move forward? So ask yourself, if you're sitting in one of these at the moment and your business isn't moving forward, ask yourself, what else do I need to know to feel comfortable to move forward? You know, it could be that perhaps you've lost your belief in the industry. You may have lost your belief in the product. You may have lost your belief on yourself. It's really important then that you have a trustworthy upline that you can go to. It's really important to know too, guys, that we are not legends. We are far from it. Okay, we've gone through this shit. We still go through it every day. So don't feel too proud or like you will be judged if you come to us and you say, I have a belief issue. On the back end of that, if your upline tells you what to do, go and do it. Okay? Don't be like, oh my God, you know, like they don't understand. We do understand, but we're offering you a solution to your problem. We're not letting you sit in your self-pity because we understand that that's not letting you move forward. Lauren is amazing at this. And do you know what? When I first started, I couldn't wrap my head around it because I was like, you are so blunt. Like she is. Anybody that knows Lauren, she is straight to the point. And I would come to her with some kind of emotional problem. Like at the start, I used to be upset when someone said no, or, you know, I actually lost a friend at that time because she was such a bitch about me starting the business. And I went to Lauren and all she said was, that's her shit, babe, keep moving. I was like, I've lost a friend. I've known this person for years. But now looking back, that's exactly what I'd tell you, because who the fuck cares? You know, they're obviously not a good enough friend if they can't see that this vision is important to you. You know, so that's where it's really important not to see your upline as somebody completely unremoved. They're probably just offering you a solution. Okay, we will be your best friends, we promise, but sometimes it's our job to lead as well. So definitely go to your upline, be honest, say what belief issue that you feel is holding you back. Say that you're stuck in this victim cycle and you want to start playing above the line again, and let us help you get there. Now, if you're a leader, okay, we will do a training on this to really work on some of those quality questions. Remind me to organize it because I'm really shocking at remembering things. All right, so that's just quickly self-responsibility, because I'm going to tell you 5 things that I think are really important in this business to be able to be successful. Cool, so the first one leads on from that. Might do it in black so you guys can see. If you have a pen, guys, write these down. I am responsible. Okay? I am responsible for my business. No one else. I am responsible for my mindset. I watched an amazing thing. Has anybody ever read or watched Wayne Dwyer? Amazing, fascinating man. You know, and he pretty much says that anything that goes on inside your body, absolutely anything, okay, whether it be with the fact that you're not good at maths, whether it be the fact that you get angry easily, whether it be the fact that you are anxious, whether it be the fact that you are sick, whether it be the fact that you are a negative, geared person because your mum was a negative geared person, that is your responsibility to fix. Okay? And I really enjoy that because I think from a spiritual perspective, we come down here with a journey to unfold. And if we keep all that shit bottled up and don't take responsibility for it, we do not grow in this path. Whereas if we unwrap all of those unpleasantries like a present and we move forward with them, we can create some really cool choices. Like, who in here actually felt uncomfortable the first time they spoke on a Zoom? Yep. Yep. So everyone's hands are up. Pretty much. Yeah. Did you die? Did you grow? Do you now feel really cool because your business is starting to move? Like, these are the things. You took responsibility for that fear and you pushed past it. So next time in the business, when you feel scared, when you feel like you weren't made for this, when you're not good enough for it, be responsible for that feeling and know that you're the only person who can change that. Cool? Number 2 is what I think expands. Cool. So what I think expands. I think this is a really special one because regardless of your beliefs or, what you think, we know that like attracts like. So whatever we're thinking daily, we know that it expands. Whether you want to look at that as a quantum physical aspect, whether you want to think of it as a God aspect, whether you want to think of it as a karmic aspect, it's really quite simple that what we spend our time thinking about will happen. All right, so that's why it's really important. And this one links very closely to this one because you're responsible for your thoughts. If you're thinking negatively, if you are thinking, staying down in the blame, shame, and justifying, that is what's going to amplify. That's what's going to expand, and that's what you're going to see predominantly in your business. But if we flip it around to the other side and you are filled with success, you're filled with love, you're filled with positivity and inspiration, what do you think is going to expand in your business? Yeah? So it's a really important one that you stop these thoughts straight away and that you recognize them in your team. Again, this is what Lauren's really good at, and it pissed me off. You know, I would say something and she said, now how do you think that mindset's serving you? And it used to drive me nuts because I'd be like, I don't fucking care how it's serving me. It's how I feel, you know, and I didn't feel validated. But she was exactly right, because it's not her job to validate me. It's her job to make sure that I grow in my business. So make sure that you're aware of what you're thinking. And if you're a leader, you need to be picking up pleasantly, you know, because we want to expand love. You want to be picking up that within your teammates and letting them recognize that that behavior and that mindset is not positive. That thinking pattern isn't going to get them closer to their vision. Number 3. Well, I think this is a long one. No, it's not. It's the next one. I am open-minded and unattached. Okay, now I say this in 2 aspects. When we come into this business, we're often not open-minded. We are often in a period of growth and a period of change, and it will force us to become open-minded as we then have to deal with people like us. Okay, so we have to deal with people who tell us that the product's rubbish, just eat fruit and veg. We have to deal with people who say what we do is a scam. We have to deal with people who think we make money by scamming people through a ridiculous product. Okay, and we have to understand that that's their point of view, but we're not responsible for that. Okay, we are open-minded. Never ever get on the defense, because that never solves anything. The best thing to do is say, thank you for your thoughts. That's wonderful. Drives them nuts. But if you don't bite back, you know, it's up to them to go and educate. It's not our fault. But we need to be open-minded to be able to pursue our goals. Not so much open-minded, well, obviously open-minded in every aspect, but more so to understand that the absolute unthinkable is possible. Because coming into this business, you may not be anywhere close to your goals, but you need to be open-minded enough to understand that they can happen. Because if you are thinking about that they can happen, what's going to expand and what are you being responsible for? Okay, so this vision will happen. I'll write that here. That's why you need to be open-minded. Because then it's going to expand, right? If you come into here with a closed mind, in your justifying situation, so let's take it back to me. I can't be successful because I have 2 small kids and no time. That was my story. Is that open-minded? Am I allowing myself to see the possibilities that's available? All right, so when you are bringing new team in and when you're coming into the team, you need to learn how to crack these nuts open, because otherwise they will fester and they'll turn into quite a cancerous and sabotaging act. So I see people in this business all the time. Sorry, here's my kids. I see this business all the time. People will self-sabotage their business. They'll light it on fire and watch it burn because they are so stuck in their story that they don't deserve this, that they can't physically let it happen. So please, when you come into this business and when you start to bring people into them, work on opening up their mind to the fact that absolutely anything is possible. Absolutely. Okay. Now we move on to the 4th one is, this is a good one. It's a tricky one. I can't attract what I don't own. Now I was trying to work out a way to sanction my thoughts on this to one sentence to write on the board. And it really tricked me. But I want to just kind of go over this quickly for you, because so many times I see people come into this business and they want to create an amazing team. They want to attract an amazing team. Okay, but they're not amazing themselves. They are not going out of their way to do the top 5 high-paying activities every single day. You cannot attract what you don't already own within yourself. Now, spiritually, that comes back to the same concept. If you don't go within and love yourself and have love for yourself, you cannot expect to attract it from someone else. Does that put it into perspective in that way? So when we put it into our business, we cannot expect our team to be a phenomenal team if we aren't putting in phenomenal work. We can't expect to raise a team of NMDs if we're just going to sit back and do nothing. Okay, customer-wise, we can't expect to want to attract people who want to change their lives if we don't want to change our lives ourselves. And that's where living the mission comes back. Okay, sorry, I'm running out of time because I speak too much. But the last one, I'm not going to be able to write because it's pretty long, but some of you may have already heard about this one before. It's another one. I've seen Joe type that up before. This is another one of one of my favorite quotes ever. Linda says this one. It's a Wayne Dyer one again. He's the man, obviously. But it's, if I change the way I look at things, what I look at changes. So if I change the way I look at things, the things I look at change. And I think that's really, really, really special. From my life, I have a period of what I like to call awakening. I know that sounds super hippie and super crazy, but it was when the whole walls of my life and craziness and everything got stripped away from me. I actually got thrown into the business right at the end of that period. So it's really important for me to get you guys to understand that your perception is absolutely everything. You need to own it. And number 5, your perception comes straight back to number 1 because it's your responsibility. If you're getting upset by something someone has told you, if you are offended, if you've got your feelings hurt, if you're feeling deflated, if you're lacking belief, that is your bloody perception. No one else's. Don't take it out on anybody else. I see so many people feel frustrated and lash out at their sidelines or their uplines or, you know, they're successful because of this. That is your perception and it's unhealthy. Okay? They're successful because they work hard and they're attracting good team because they're a good team member themselves. So really work on that perception. You can turn absolutely anything into a blessing if you want to, but that is your responsibility to do so. Cool, so let's just have a look. I will just write perception up here so that I can remember what it was. But when we go through with it, so these are the top 5 things to remember completely in your business. Obviously, they're not our top 5 high-paying activities. This is more internal work and not action. All right, because I think internal work needs to happen before the action will come about. So if you find that you're in a spot, maybe you've been in the business for a while and you found a spot where you are no longer growing, your business is no longer growing, I kind of urge you guys to look if you are doing anything to help yourself grow. Because there's probably a good chance you're not, that you've stopped growing personally and that's why your business has stopped growing as well. So go back to watching, you know, whether you listen to podcasts, whether you listen to, you know, the YouTube clips or you read self-help books, whatever it is to really continue to enjoy your journey, okay? So we've got I am responsible. What I think about expands. I am open-minded because my vision will happen. I can't attract what I don't own, and your perception. Cool. So I hope that helps a little bit. I think we've got our beautiful guests jumping on already, so I won't yabber away too much longer. But if you've got any questions about that, pop them up in the chat box because I would love to chat more about it. We can talk in the team page about it as well. But for now, I will shush and we'll start getting our ready for our event. Hi guys. Hello, there's lots of lovely faces on now. Everybody snuck in while I was talking. Hi Jazz, how you feeling? Oh, Melissa's on too. Hi Mel.
Hi.
Hi, gorgeous. How you going?
Yeah, good. Just a bit nervous, but
Just
gonna
a bit
push
nervous?
through.
No, that's good. It's good. Use the nerves, fuel it, use it as fuel. I love it. All right, so we've got some beautiful people on. Okay, let's have a look. Is there anybody who's having trouble with Zoom? We've got Vicky, Beck, Jazz, and Melissa all launching. Maybe just touch base with your invitees and make sure that they're not having any trouble jumping on, because I know it's a bit of a tricky thing.